Oh, little review, yeah. Yo, I've been sipping tonight, people, on the, what am I sipping tonight? The cloudy lemonade and voddy, so if I stutter and butter a little moment, let it be. It's a bank holiday Monday. Yesterday, for the first time from front to back, I listened to you see that? Already don't know what I'm talking about. I listened to the Descendents record, the debut LP, MILO Goes to College. Back in the day, I had heard so many tunes from this record, generally over the Descendents discography. I had heard, their hit songs. How I came across them, I don't know. Probably through YouTube in that particular period of my music exploration. Just searching in the Descendents and seeing, what garnered the most attention, what the algorithm wanted to present to me. So there was two tunes on this record in particular I knew were good tracks. And they were, it's subjective, but as far as the general opinion, the good tracks on the record would have been Hope and Suburban Home. But my view was biased because I really like the Tony Hawk soundtracks. I used to drill Tony Hawk's games back in the day, so Suburban Home was covered by another act on one of the Tony Hawk's games, potentially American Wasteland, because I think that's where the majority of the songs were actually performed by other big, relatively mainstream artists. And I think that was a publishing thing more than all. I don't think that was for artistic merit. I think that was to bypass, heavy payments to the actual owners of the masters, the labels and so forth. Who knows? So I got into the record. It was good. It was unique. You can really hear the concentrated power of youthfulness in partnership with punk rock, in partnership with understanding of their instrumentation, their musicianship, their craft of how to put together a decent tune. You can hear that all come together on this record. And the final piece of the puzzle, the production value, is really good. I don't know who produced this record, nor do I know how much they spent on the production of this record, nor do I know what came before this debut LP. So I don't know if there was a contract signed to a label to establish the funding towards this record. But as a debut LP for a young group that was representing hardcore punk, you would assume that it needs a healthy investment for a production value to be as brilliant as it is. The production's great. It's minimal as far as instrumentation is concerned, but the soundscape is crafted very well. You can hear the instrumentation clearly, with clarity. The vocal line is dead on. You don't have to really listen in to understand what is going on in the picture of this record. And speaking of pictures, the artwork itself is fantastic. I've commented, because I do reactions while I'm listening to this. Bro, I'm getting older. I'm not getting no younger. So as far as my music endeavours are concerned with listening to music, I think let's share it with the world. Let's communicate and engage with the people who are also into this music. So I run a channel called King of the Pit TV. Yeah? Check that out, because that's where my Descendents listen through will go to. And I'm listening through to this record. I don't even know the point I was trying to make. I was too busy getting the plug in there. But I'm sure it'll come to me at some point, and if not, who cares? Who cares? This is an honest review, yeah? So, I'm listening to the record. And as far as hardcore punk is concerned, the vocal line itself is a little bit softer than some of the more frantic bands, some of the more aggressive bands at the time. From when I've heard the Descendents back in my teenage years, I associated them with love songs and a little more of a flowery content. But now listening to them listening to this record in its entirety, there is an element of aggression. Now I would say 50% of that is like powerful overt aggression. 50% of that is passive aggressive, sort of smarmy. Yeah, I'll say it as it is because this has been getting flack as of recent. It's a minor little thing. No one's going to care, you know what I mean? This was a band back in the 80s and it was a cool record. And to this, you know what I mean? If a band put this record out nowadays, I still wouldn't give a crap, you know what I mean? It'd be alright. It's good artistic expression. There's an incel element to it. I can't ever get the girl. And I'm angry at women. I'm completely angry at women because they don't give me their time. I'm a nerd. I'm uncool. I'm into punk rock. I'm an alternate species. Alright? And that's portrayed very well. Now, in it being portrayed very well, that means that there's a disconnect between me as an adult in comparison to me if I was listening to it if I was a teenager or a, young adult. So it would be more connective for an individual to listen to this record whilst they are in the age range of the Descendents as they were writing this. Now, as I say that, I looked at Wikipedia prior to listening to the record and I seen that the bass guitarist, I think it was the bassist, was decades ahead, like two decades older than the rest of the band. Correct me if I'm wrong, alright? And that individual wrote Suburban Home, which is conceptually regarding wanting to live a normal, to some, mundane life, but a comfortable life. You know what I mean? Biologically speaking, a right life. I want to be a clone. I want to fit in. I want to abide by societal norms. I want to be told what's right and abide by that. And I want to feel right in fitting in and understanding that I have everything I need on a foundational basis. Suburban Home is a great tune. Suburban Home is a fantastic tune. Whilst I was doing the uploads of the single by single individual tracks to YouTube on these reactions, Suburban Home is the only tune I got a copyright claim from. They allowed all the rest. Suburban Home, for some particular reason, needed me to dispute it, because obviously if you react to something and give an alternate narrative, as far as copyright law is concerned, you're allowed to do so, or you should be. The Beatles can bend the law, because I've tried to do it with the Beatles, but they're just like, no fucking way. So, which is BS. It's complete BS. But Suburban Home must have an extra edge to it in regards to that. Now, as far as the music itself is concerned, we're over and done in near about 20 minutes. We got about, I think it's 16 tracks on the record, 15 to 16 tracks in 20 minutes. That's crazy, innit? I mean, that's hardcore. But the Descendents have done it in such a way that they've infused that 20 minutes with so many great melodies, so many great hooks, so many great catches. I'd say about this amount of differentiation as far as the spectrum is concerned of the sound they've created, because you know, it's not like they've created this broad range of what the Descendents are. Wow, they can do so much. It is punk rock music. But there are some songs you might like, some songs you will love, some songs you might dislike on this record. You know, they do the whole 40-second hardcore punk over and out sort of shindig. And it's not what they do best. That's best left to the aggro heads who want to just create a rager. Just a big kick in the face. The Descendents can't do that on these 40-minute tracks. Like they have their own element, their own aspect. But what they do best is creating these hooks, these melodic hooks. And if you want to really drill that hook in from a songwriting imperative, you're going to need to repeat and rinse that a few times. And so the 2-minute tracks is to where they really do that. My Age is a good tune. And what's the one after? There's one right at the end, which I think is a great tune. I think it might be Bikeage, oddly enough. And have the lyrics aged well? You know what? From my perspective, you know what I mean. If you're offended by them lyrics, you shouldn't be involved in critiquing creative and emotional avenues of expression, to be fair with you, because it's hardly the most destructive record in the world. They're hardly the most destructive words. It's a good viewpoint from the kid in high school who is frustrated because they are progressing through adolescence into adulthood and haven't found meaningful connection with the opposite sex. And that isn't spoken about during them times, you know. No teenager or young adult is making vlogs saying, I'm so stressed out about how I can't communicate with females, because there's this bravado when it comes to men and masculinity, and there's this, you know, counterbalance when it comes to it. So in that regards, I think the Descendents are good. I think Milo is good. If he wrote, you know, so much of the lyrical content, I think he's good in expressing that value. As far as the artwork is concerned, I've commented on this. I'm surprised I don't see the artwork tattooed as regular as it should be, because you see the black flag bars, you see the minor fret sheep. I've got a minor fret sheep. I think it's quality, obviously. And, you know, you see the Misfit skull, and you see these timeless classic pioneering acts and their logos, their mascots, tattooed on the people who support the culture. And I'm very, very surprised I've only seen so many Descendents tattoos, so many Milo tattoos, because that is a timeless, one-of-a-kind piece of artwork. I think it's really brilliant. I haven't got on to the other records as of yet, but I'm going to continue on to the 85 record. I think it was put out in 85. I Don't Want to Grow Up might be the title of it. I'm going to go on to that. But as far as that record is concerned, Milo Goes to College, I think it's good. I think there's a lot of substance. I've heard reference that it is the start of pop punk. You know what I mean? One of the roots of pop punk. As far as the roots are concerned, yeah, more than definitely. But, you know, Ramones were punk rock. But as far as what punk developed into, you could call the Ramones pop punk, right? A softer tone of the extremity that was to come in the 80s and above and beyond. And that's a few thoughts in regards to Milo Goes to College. I enjoyed it. It was an easy listen. It was a smooth listen. Some tunes were better than others, but I understand in the tunes that I didn't like so much, some people would really like. I wasn't gonna say any track was bad. because that was my personal opinion. And although that tends to be the case across the board, I will still say when I think something's crap, purely from a music and a marketing perspective. Like, who does this appeal to? The songs I didn't like so much, I know would appeal to other people. So it was really good in that regards. So as far as Milo Goes to College is concerned, I will give that record I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10, you know. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. I'm interested to hear where the Descendents go from here. Some people will rate it higher, and some people will definitely rate it lower. So I think a good middle ground is 7.5 out of 10. Because I think it's a good record. Would I listen to it again out of choice? Nah, because I've got other things to listen to. It doesn't appeal to me in this day and age. I feel like I'm lowering my vibration by listening to, you know, adolescent sort of problems, because obviously Milo at this point hasn't really experienced the problems that come in later life, or at least hasn't applied that to record on this record. So, you know, that's my personal opinion. And yeah, I could talk for a minute, but I'm going to leave it there. I'll give it that rating, and I'm going to continue listening on to the record. Click subscribe, you know what you do. I'm signing out, people.